Uri Polak, pediatric cardiologist and pediatric cardiac intensivist, Safra Children's Hospital.
It was absolutely critical
to the maximum dose.
We had to tweak the ventilator to maintain his oxygenation.
David Cooper, medical director of the cardiac ICU at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Here he experienced cardiac arrest.
I'm not religious, but in Gan Eden, in paradise, I would like to be in Isaac's suite. Uri Polak, pediatric cardiologist and pediatric cardiac intensivist, Safra Children's Hospital, Tel Hashomer, Israel. Safra Children's Hospital is one of the biggest pediatric hospitals in Israel. It's a tertiary referral hospital when children from all over the country. Actually, it's one of the biggest hospitals in the Middle East. And we have all the abilities to take care of the most complicated and sick kids. This patient was referred to our referral hospital from medical center in the north with severe shortness of breath, dyspnea, tachypnea, hemodynamically unstable, suspected diagnosis of pulmonary hypertension. He was admitted to my pediatric cardiac intensive care unit here in Tel Hashomer. Critical condition. He was immediately intubated and ventilated with initiation of multiple drugs to support his circulation. And after first echocardiography, he was taken to the cath lab for further evaluation. The diagnosis of severe obstruction of his pulmonary veins was made. He was then taken to the OR, correct or repair this obstruction of the pulmonary veins. The medical diagnosis of the patient was progressing severe obstruction of the pulmonary veins, causing severe pulmonary hypertension, life-threatening pulmonary hypertension. And after we made this diagnosis, and there was only slight response to medical therapy, and because of the progression of this condition, we thought that the only chance to save his life is to take him for a lung transplant. Unfortunately, we don't have lung transplant program in our hospital, so we had to transfer this kid, this patient, to Cincinnati Children's.
In order to save this child's life, it was absolutely critical that we get him to Cincinnati Children's. When we arrived, Dr. Cooper and his entire medical team were waiting for us.
David Cooper, medical director of the cardiac ICU at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. The vision here at Cincinnati Children's, we are more than willing to take very high-risk cases, very highly specialized cases. We get referrals from all over the world concerning patients that have very complex illnesses or been seen at other centers where no other therapy could be offered. Our International Destination Excellence Center got contacted about his case of pulmonary hypertension. The Heart Institute, particularly interested in providing that level of care to patients from all over the world and be able to provide them with therapy that they wouldn't be able to receive in other places. We do this all in collaboration. In fact, Uri Polak, who's one of the cardiac intensivists in Tel Aviv in Israel, and I work together, Pediatric Cardiac Intensive Care Society, so a global organization that has intensivists like myself interact with one another across the globe. So Uri and I know each other quite well and communicated actually quite often. We accepted him as a referral patient to come to our center.
When I heard from the insurance company that Isaac and VitalOne team is going to accompany the child from New York to Cincinnati, I was sure that this child is going to make it to Cincinnati. It's not the first time that I'm working with Isaac and the team. Their proficiency, their abilities, their equipment is state of the art. They know exactly what to do, when to do, and where to do it. I was very happy for this kid that Isaac and the team are going to be in charge of the transfer from New York to Cincinnati. Previously knowing their abilities, and after I saw their performance after we landed in New York, I was absolutely confident in their abilities to take this child safe and alive from New York to Cincinnati.
We had to adjust his medications to the maximum dose just to keep his heart beating and his blood pressure from falling.
He was quite ill when he landed in New York, and the fact that they were willing to transport him from New York to us was pretty impressive. He was quite sick, and their ability to manage him en route without a lot of direct support, very impressive. I'm fortunate that I get to work in an intensive care unit where I've got 50 people around me at all time. Those guys have 4 people in a plane or an ambulance, and they have to do all of the care themselves. And so they often have to take on roles that aren't usual for them. They play the role of the physician and the nurse and the respiratory therapist. So it's a real testament to the VitalOne team's skill set that they're able to carry out such transports with high expertise.
Throughout the entire transport, we had to tweak the ventilator to maintain his oxygenation on the flight.
During the flight, the patient was in critical condition. He was unstable both respiratory and hemodynamically. We had to go up with the dosage of both the inotropes, the drugs to support his heart, and the ventilator settings, the pressure that he was ventilated on, with several episodes of bradycardia, of decreased heart rate. When we landed in New York, the child crashed again, became bradycardic, extremely bradycardic. We started CPR with chest compressions and medications to support his heart. Isaac and his team came on the plane, and since the minute they joined me and the nurse that was accompanying me during this medical flight, the CPR went smooth and very professionally. Each one of them knew exactly what he's supposed to do, respiratory-wise, hemodynamically-wise, medications, start and make all the exchanging the ventilator and the syringe pumps and all the equipment from the equipment that we arrived from Israel to their equipment. Together we managed to stabilize him and to get him out of the plane to their ambulance and to the plane that took him to Cincinnati.
He was very sick. The transport team actually did a phenomenal job keeping him alive in transport. After he arrived here, he experienced cardiac arrest, called a pulmonary hypertension crisis. And that's where the pressures in his lungs got so high that it stifled the ability of the blood to get out of the heart and out through his lungs and into his body. So he received CPR here on arrival, and we treated him emergently with other medications to try and reverse the pulmonary hypertension, and in fact we were able to do so and brought him back. We treated him with a series of medications that he did have a very positive response to, so much so that by the time we sent him back home, he was able to fly home on a commercial jet and fly home well without any problems.
I'm not religious, but in Gan Eden, in paradise, I would like to be in Isaac's suite.